Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds. Many people have wondered, have our Apimaye insulated hives survived the winter? So let's find out and see how they're doing. They both have survived, but let's see how they're building up and what they look like. By the way, 7 p.m. tonight, there's going to be a live chat on our channel, beekeeping questions and answers, all that kind of stuff. And that's today's Saturday, March the 13th, 7 p.m. Central Time, and we'll see you there. Alright, so let's hop on into this colony. Now, it was 2 deep boxes, but I pulled one off. They shrank down in population, and I wanted to give them a smaller amount of space. Well, we got some bees coming up through the feeder or something over here. Give them a little smoke, and it's gonna put a little smoke underneath these things. One thing I've noticed is they propolize every seam around here, so I don't think that there's hardly any upper ventilation, but that's okay. I don't care about that myself. Some people want it. I don't care for upper ventilation in wintertime. I don't think it's necessary. We're going to give this hive some pollen patties and see how they're doing. I believe they shrank back a good bit, but we did take a split from them back in late summer. It was, if you'll watch those videos, it was 2 deep boxes with the dividers in between, a queen on both sides. And we took half of that and we put it over there in a nucleus, a wooden hive, excuse me, and then we left one side over here. And they were about 10 frames of bees going into winter, and this is what we have left. Now, it's a pretty cool day. We're probably in the mid-50s, but it's a little rainy. I think we're going to start seeing brood somewhere around here. So we got a little bit of a pollen patty left, a little bit of small hive beetle larvae in there, not a whole lot, but there's a little bit. Let's see if they're making any forward progress though. Not quite as big as I would like them to be, but they had a rough start, going through super procedures last year and being split late in summer because they had 2 queens. So this is this is the comb that I pulled out of the rotten tree and tied it in. And they've actually done a pretty good job with it. Oh, there's the queen right there. So she's over to here laying on this frame. That's really good. Looking down through the seams, which I call kind of the seams or the gaps in between the frames. I call these seams of bees. Looks like the bees are more over in this direction. So we're going to slip this frame back in so the queen can get back to her business carefully. And then we're just going to go over to the next frame and check these out. Alright, so I am seeing tons of larvae down in here. Laurel, maybe you can see some of that larvae right there. And then there's capped brood. You got all this pollen you can see on your left side of the cells. And it's looking pretty good. Let's see a little bit more though. I want to see more brood than that. I am seeing, oh wow, okay. Let me shake this off. We know that the queen's not there. Show them all that larvae down in there if you can get that angle, Laurel. That is a good sign right there of good nutrition. Queen's laying quite a bit. You see that? Excellent. Alright, so I'm going to put this back in. The population's not huge. Right now I'm guessing they're covering about 6 to 7 frames. I want to see if there's a little bit more developed brood, capped brood stage. And see what they're looking like. Yeah, like this frame right here. Alright. Yeah, that's what I want to see right there. So they're just capping these larvae over. So some of these are probably in the early stages of going from larvae to a pupae. But I'm not seeing a lot of foodstuffs in here. I am seeing some frames over on the edges. I am seeing a good bit of pollen, so that's great. We're going to throw a little more pollen patty in here. Once this emerges, that's going to be awesome. Let's check one more frame over. It's nice that we know the queen's not on these frames, so that makes it easy for us to be able to just go through here and be able to check all this out. Yes, just more capped brood, more larvae, and more of the same. So looking good. We're looking at around 4 frames of brood from what I can tell. That's good though. They're gonna grow pretty rapidly. I prefer they were a little bit bigger, but for splitting them in August down the middle, I'll take it. Yeah, this is all foodstuffs, just pollen and honey. That frame's a honey frame. I'm gonna give them a little bit more food. We want these bees going forward. Weather's not gonna be that great over the next 10 days. We're looking at about 7 days with a good chance of rain. Yay. But the temperatures are gonna be mild, and this is an insulated colony. So with a little bit of pollen sub to complement that natural pollen that's in there, they should keep going forward. And we're just going to throw these little ones back in here so they can get busy. Definitely put them over the frames with the brood. That's where the nurse bees are going to be eating. And then we're going to take, on a colony this size, I'm going to give them a piece about that big. So not even quite half a pound. And this had brood on it. So we're just going to do this and just slice this down so they can really get access to that quickly. We are going to grab these feeders and shake those bees off so we don't run into crushing any of them. There we go, get out of there. Alright, we're good. And now they have that. The nice thing about these Apimaye feeders is that the heat from the bees actually warms the syrup up. So we're just going to throw some syrup in here real quick. Not a whole lot, it's not that big of a colony. I just threw a trickle down in there so the bees would know there's a little bit. And you know, these are half gallons apiece. This is 1-to-1 syrup. And that's it. So that colony looks pretty good. They're going to build up with the queen laying like that. I know she's a young queen that we grafted from. We're in good shape. We're just going to throw this lid back on. Now if you want to clean up all of this right here, you can just get some washcloth and some water with just a little bit of dish soap, or you can even use a tiny bit of bleach in there instead. And all this mildew looking stuff will just come right on off of this. Alright, let's go over to our other Apimaye hive. Alright, so we're over here at our other little Apimaye hive, and I think they've done really well. This was a really fun colony to have last year. Both of them were great, but the cool thing about this little hive is you have multiple entrances right here. And so I would have this one open up in the back, and then I'd have the main entrance up front. You can see it right here. And I would have this one shut, and I would have this one open. And I was mating queens in here. And with this divider down the center, I did 8 rounds of 2 queens last year. And out of 8 cells put in, 1 on each side, so 4 rounds of 2, I should say, I had 6 come back, 75% success. And at the end of it, I left 1 in here. What would we do with those extra 5 queens? Well, we took them and made splits in other places. So that was really awesome, and I have really enjoyed raising queens in this setup. Alright, so now that we've got that latched, we've got our little feeders there, about quart size, and let's check and see how these bees are doing. Whoops. There's a little bit of patty right there, not much left, and a little bit of small hive beetle larvae in it too. But they overwintered just like this. Let's see if that queen's building up this little nuke. And if they are, I'm going to need something to stick this in really soon, because they are going to outgrow this space. So I'm seeing seams of bees a good bit. And I've got 7 frames in here. It's really tight, but I can get them out. This time of the year it's hard to get them out just because everything's glued down so hard. We're going to go for this edge frame. Not as many bees on this frame, I can tell from up top. Come on. There we go. In summertime, it's easier to pull them out, but goodness gracious, the propolis sticks to your fingers. So we have a little bit of sugar syrup that I've been feeding this colony over here. They're putting at the edge. Not a whole lot of bees on that one. Let's work on over. By the way, if you want to, in the comments below, I'm going to leave a link. And if you're going to buy something from Apimaye, you can go through our link and you don't pay any extra. And it sends a donation to our channel and the experimental yard. All right, I'm seeing brood over here. And lots of bee bread. A lot of maple pollen is what that is right there. Maple pollen is, you know, a lot of people talk about the red maples, but red maples don't produce red pollen. They produce kind of a yellowish, a mustard colored looking pollen. It varies a little bit, kind of a brown yellow. But I'm just seeing I saw that little bit of capture. I'm like, all right, we got some brood over here. She, a poor girl, probably came over here to like, please have some room, and is all full of pollen. I don't see anything over here except just food. So we're going to scoot that on over and go to the next frame. Oh yeah. Woo. That's, oh my goodness, you should see the next frame. So look at this, my goodness, these bees aren't too far away from swarming. This is how the queen typically lays. She'll work like that and go on around, and now you can see over in here the larvae, that whole round right there, and you can see that beautiful layer of pollen they've stuffed down into those cells and turned into bee bread, and then you see the sugar syrup slash honey up top, and that is a sign of a really healthy frame right there. Really peak condition. And just look at that nice pattern right there from the young queen that we raised in this Apimaye hive last year. Really, really nice. The cool thing about them is if you look down right there, you've got ventilation. So on those really hot dog days of summer, if you wanted to, you could open that up and both colonies could be ventilated. You don't have to worry about that as much with Apimaye hives though, just because they have the insulated walls and tops so the heat doesn't get to them near as much. But it does still help, especially since they have tiny entrances on these mating nukes when you just have them on one side or the other and it's full of bees. Also, there's a board down there you can pull out and you can see varroa drop on and all kinds of stuff. All right, look at this capped brood right here. So this queen's just laying up a storm. She's running out of room to lay. So what do we do with a hive like this? It's in great condition. Our honey flow's still a month out, just the start of it. Wow, look at all that brood right there. It's great. What are we going to do with this colony? Well, we have to add a box. We've either got to take this colony out of here and we have got to put it in a bigger box, or we're going to have to add another super. And of course they sell boxes that you can make these tall. Some people like skinnier hives like this, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just personal preference. But I'm telling you right now, this colony is about 1 week from developing swarm cells, and then within probably a week more of saying adios. So, and the queen does not hardly have any room for that. What we could do today is just drop a drawn comb. If you have extra drawn combs, it's perfect. You can pop it in just like a cassette. For those of you who are too young to know what cassettes are, I feel sorry for you. But, you know, that's all right. Oh, wow. It's just full of larvae right there. This hive is just booming. This hive, I'm telling you, put them in a 10-frame box and just let them produce honey. You also could cut this hive back though. What you could do is pull a couple of those frames of capped brood, a frame of it at least, and then another one of maybe honey, and then insert 2 frames of drawn comb and just trickle feed them a little bit of sugar syrup. Kind of slow them down, but they're going to need to be pulled back or given more space for sure. All right. Let's see what you're working on over here, girl. This frame's got a little bit more weight to it, so I wonder if there is food in this frame. Yeah, I'm seeing sugar syrup and honey on that side. And there's the queen right there, looking for room to lay. And there's a lot of foodstuffs, bee bread, and a lot of sugar syrup and honey. All right. Well, the Apimaye hives are looking great. See you at the live chat at 7 p.m. tonight. Thanks for watching.